who's actually leading that campaign? Because we just elected a president who claimed that he was going to do all those things. And I think to the extent that people are disappointed, he hasn't done it. It looks like he may not be able to do it. So who's leading that change? Who's leading that movement? And who is the different person that you referred to earlier who we have to elect? When you've got a system that has, this is culturally, I remember a conversation with you 12 years ago where we were sitting around a table.
In Washington?
No, it was actually, no, this one was in L.A. And it was Mickey Cantor, and it was Norman Lear, and it was Larry David and his wife. And everybody was moaning about we're living in hell. Rupert Murdoch runs the media. George Bush is president. We're sunk. So this is a conversation that is not new.
Right.
So who is that person who's going to lead us out of this, and who is the person that you would describe as the change agent that we have to elect?
Well, that is a terrific question, and my answer is that there isn't one person. I think that's really the mind shift that has to happen, that we need to stop looking for the knight on the white charger to save us, which especially women who have a tendency to be constantly looking for the knight on the white charger to save us. So we need to give that up, and we need to basically look in the mirror. And each one of us needs to discover their own leadership potential, which in a way is what Emerge is about, and express it in many ways. Running for office is, after all, in the DNA of Emerge. Being involved in the media, whatever form it takes. It's like so the change engine is really that creature whose priority is not to get elected, but to continue to be a change agent, even if it means not getting elected. Now, that may be hard, but that's really key. The minute being elected becomes the most important thing, it's over. You are captive of the system. And therefore, we need, ironically, to encourage people who has a different kind of center than the longing to get elected.
Well, we had Ralph Nader, and we held Ross Perot, and we have Dennis Kucinich, and we have all these people who, as you suggest, their self-aggrandizement is not necessarily first on their list. So we've had some of those people, and they
self-aggrandizement is different than the priority being wanting to get elected. I think we're talking about the minute that becomes the priority, then raising enough money becomes the second priority, and compromising, because as we tell ourselves, if you don't get elected, you can't change anything. So you'll compromise now, and then when you get elected, you'll go back to whatever your views were, and to also kind of recognize that it's happening often at the local level. Look at Cory Booker. Cory Booker is an example of a politician who is changing New York, in very tangible ways, including reducing crime. It's still a very broken city, but he's making a real tangible difference. And he's doing it in his own way. He's doing it by encouraging and engaging his constituents through everything, including Twitter. It's 2 million followers, and if you actually follow him on Twitter and you have a commencement speech to give, you can get it written in 2 weeks, because he keeps tweeting inspirational quotes. and he leads a transparent local government. So there are a lot of things that are happening around the country that are not at the level of the White House or the leaders of the House or the Senate, but are very significant in terms of what we're talking about, and we need to put even more spotlight on them. And so we need to look at the small changes that are happening. When I finished writing the depressing part of my book, I felt that I wanted to write what was really working. So I wrote this entire section about what was happening that was positive, both at the political level and at the community level. I mean, I have a section called Find Your Own Calcutta, which was really what Mother Teresa told people who wanted to say, I want to come and work with you in Calcutta, and she would say, find your own Calcutta in your own backyard. And I profiled Susie Buffett, for example, who turned her own personal foundation just to Omaha. And it's really fascinating to see if people could do that in their own communities. You know, she's involved at the granular level with preventing teenage pregnancy, preschool education, keeping public school libraries open in the summer. You know, all these little things that end up affecting the way thousands of people live. So all these things that we can do can become a critical mass of change. So all I'm saying is that after all these conversations we've had, and after all the hopes we had, that we could just elect the leader who would bring about change, and we could go back on the couch and watch it happen and celebrate. Well, it's not going to happen that way. So we might as well accept it. I don't know, Craig is shaking his head. Craig maybe still is hoping that Washington is going to do it. Craig, I'd love to talk, I'd love to hear you. Craig is working in Washington, trying to change things.
There's a lot of good people in Washington doing a lot of good stuff that we never hear about. It doesn't sell papers. And the idea is to encourage them actually right now, a few blocks away, there's the VA, Veterans Affairs, is having a conference on it relating to traumatic brain injury. Heard from a woman who was a psychologist working at a MASH in Western Iran. The story is just like MASH, or for that matter, China Beach, if you like that show too. I do. But the deal is all this stuff is happening, it doesn't get out there. The deal is to figure out how to get the word out and change the expectation. Now, I'm a nerd, I'm way over my head, so that's where I'll start.